So we just heard about three heroes that were included in the book that were written by special authors. And, but altogether, in our book, we have profiled 30 Muslim heroes from the past and the present. So we have, people like Khadija, Fatima, we have Imam Shamil, we have traditional, scholars and empresses, and then we have some very simple, ordinary people who gave their lives. And when you read the book, some of them will bring you to tears, because like this teacher in Pakistan who stood in front of a door and allowed herself to be gunned down and prevented all the children, behind the door, and saved their lives. And so there are stories like that, and these are unsung heroes, and people are giving their lives to save other lives. So this is meant to inspire other people. But today, this particular session is very dear to my heart, because there are people currently in America who are giving back in all kinds of ways back to society. And they are doing great acts of, charity, and are really helping people, the needy. And we've dropped them in two buckets, Muslim initiatives and non-Muslim initiatives. Because oftentimes we just hear the bleak story of what's happening in the country, but we don't hear about all the good work that's going on around the country. And so we wanted to really highlight these. There's only 20 of them, but we're not gonna show you all 20 because we don't have enough time. And there's only so many heroes that are physically present here today. So we can get started. So the first hero that we had was Chloe Breyer. And this is something that I'm familiar with myself. It's called Ribbons of Hope. This was started right after 9/11 by groups of nonprofits where they came together and they dropped these ribbons where people just wrote hopeful messages. And it was a huge effort. It was a huge public effort, with these yellow ribbons and colored ribbons. And it really created a feeling of togetherness, unity amongst all the people. Unfortunately, Chloe was here for the whole day, and then she had to take the train. Huh? Oh, she's here. Where are you? Come on up. Chloe Breyer. So there's a little bit of nepotism here because she's not related to me, but she's a sister in faith. And Chloe has gone to bat for the Muslim community. This is just an example, one example of the work that she does. I mean, I can't tell you, when the Ground Zero Mosque controversy was going on, Chloe was by my side, literally, standing beside me, going on Fox, putting on makeup. She doesn't wear makeup usually. And I called her the Foxy Lady because, they couldn't fight back with her. She's a reverend. So anyway, I want to thank Chloe Breyer, and I want to tell her that we honor the work that you do every single day. So thank you very much.
Just to thank you so much to WISE, and this was an amazing opportunity. And just those ribbons, I have them in my mind, and I'm very nostalgic for them. As awful as it was a lot better than it is today. So I would say that effort, which you had to, the ordeal you went through, actually did bring us all forward in the sense that when we got to the 10th anniversary of 9/11, it was an interfaith way of celebrating that occasion. And I think that came through so many of our joint efforts. So thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. The next we have is a video. And once again, this is a
Don't discount me.
War criminal, throat slitter,
Martyr, self-deluded,
murderer, animal.
Animal!
The thing that struck me during the interview process was that so many people within their responses within the same paragraph would talk about Mrs. So-and-so down the street whom they loved from this other faith, great friend, we love them, but within the same breath, we're making a huge stereotypical comment about the group.
We have been trained over centuries to look at the other with suspicion, to look at the other as a threat, whether it be Christian or Muslim, we Jews, or the other. You can make the other combinations. To look at the other with a certain degree of suspicion, and to focus primarily, and I would say almost exclusively, on our own needs and the needs of our own group. It is that provincialism which I think is increasingly unacceptable in the world today.
At the core of all religions is what William James calls the religious experience, the vision of God, what Rumi calls the vision of God. Those of us who are driven by that experience really belong to one religion.
There's a verse in the Quran that says, if you kill one person, it's as if you've killed all of humanity.
And in the Talmud it says that when you save a life, it's as if you saved the entire universe.
In Matthew's Gospel, Jesus says, what you do to the least of us, you do to God.
Peace comes when people listen and are compassionate, even if they don't agree with each other. Women understand compromise. We know how to do it.
What most people of our three faiths don't know is that Isaac and Ishmael reunited. They came together to bury their father Abraham. So it is possible. We can return to each other and bury the past.
I have very easy philosophy. Sometimes I lose something and solve the problem. This is a form of peace. You will not be losing if you win the peace. If you are stubborn, then you will be losing. Your children will lose, your grandchildren will lose. But if you lose to win the peace, you won everything.
I would like to invite Eileen Weiss on the stage to accept this award on behalf of this entire team of Same Difference. It was an amazing show that ran for 16 weeks, and it was completely sold out. And it was using theater to tell the most difficult stories and to show the stereotypes that people have, using the license of art.
So I'm part of a synagogue on the Upper West Side, and we partnered with a Methodist church also on the Upper West Side. And when we were looking for Muslim partners for Same Difference, which was one-on-one interviews that got turned into a play and then a film with original music, original dance, but the same names kept coming up, and Daisy and Imam Faisal were at the top of the list every time as they grasped the concept. They understood what it meant to have the visceral experience of the arts combined with the intellect of all the teachings. And it became this incredible project. And it's crucial that we keep helping to find safe places where the moderate voice of Islam can be heard more loudly than those who would practice religious militarism. And WISE continues to show the world that Islam is a religion of peace, and we are all behind you in this effort. So thank you.
And Eileen took the train at 5 o'clock in the morning, so she should get applause for that. And these are only the initiatives that I know. So many of you know of so many other initiatives that are going on around the country, so our website is ready for you to send in the initiative, and we're happy to add more initiatives. We want to inspire people of the ways that people have been dialoguing and showing these heroic initiatives. Next is Hunger Van. So Rabbi Jonah Pesner is an amazing rabbi. He couldn't stand what was going on with Muslims and the Islamophobia that was rampant, so he decided to take his show on the road. He literally went from place to place speaking in synagogues about trying to clarify the understanding of Islam or the misunderstanding of Islam. Unfortunately, Jonah Pesner is not here because he thought the session was earlier, but he was going to be here. So imagine he's here. He's here in spirit. So we applaud him and we thank him, and his plaque will be sent to him.
Lisa, some people might look at the events of the world and say, is this really going to make a difference? Does one day of a handful of people in Chicago getting together change the issues we have between faiths right now?
I mean, I think so. It's the issues that we have need to be tackled from multiple vantage points, and one of those ways really is, though, through making connections, for getting to know people, for recognizing that though we may have different philosophies or different outlooks on life, we have shared commitments toward taking care of those who are the most vulnerable in our society. And I think the more that we can have these types of opportunities and normalize the fact that people who are diverse and different from one another can come together and work together on shared goals, it does help to counter the narratives that we see, right? And it does help to counter, you know, when the news is full of Charlottesville, for example, right? We need moments like this to remind ourselves that that is not representative of who we are as a people and as communities, nor is it what we want to be. Right. So I think it's a really important piece to what needs to happen. There also needs to be better education efforts, and we need to have, you know, make sure that our legislation is passing laws that are safeguarding the ability for people to practice their religions. But these kind of, even the smallest interpersonal interactions, I think, are incredibly powerful.
So I heard about the hunger van when I met Zamir Zamir Hassan at an event in New York, and I saw how he was literally feeding the hungry. I was so touched by, you know, he didn't have the money. He was just raising the money left, right, and center and just feeding the hungry wherever he could. His efforts are, you know, I think that his efforts have been recognized by the divine, that now he's getting help from lots of people. He's able to take it on the road. And this is an example of how he started in New Jersey, but people are using his example in places like Chicago and other places. So I'd like to invite Nazli Chaudhry, who's on their board, to accept this honor on behalf of Hunger Van.
Thank you so much. Hunger Van is an initiative under Muslims Against Hunger, which was founded by Zamir Hassan. You saw him in the video. So we've taken the soup kitchen and made it mobile. We bring all the supplies, everything needed to make nutritious vegan meals into the communities where we will serve the hungry of that community. So the community provides the volunteers and the space, and we bring everything else. And we engage all levels of the community, educate them about hunger, and we feel like we can engage good people to come together and do good, regardless of their religious affiliations or any other affiliations. And we believe that hunger has no religion, and we have the means and the resources to end world hunger. We just need to come together and make it happen. Thank you.
I think most of you got a little taste of the ice cream today, but I think it's nice to see how it all started.
No one can guess what flavor ice cream this is.
It tastes like pistachio.
Wrong.
Like a cookie dough.
Wrong.
It's like caramel something nut.
Wrong again. You guys are eating a new Syrian ice cream flavor.
Walnut.
This is a Syrian
Walnut?
dessert.
Oh. Really?
What do you
All
guys
right.
think about it?
It's very good.
When Paul Nasrani set out to make a Syrian-influenced ice cream, he says it wasn't a political statement.
The statement really is to be, remind us about what the United States is about, remind us that some people who may appear different aren't really that different from us. Hopefully people will remember that and enjoy ice cream at the same time.
So why the Syrian influence? A child of immigrants himself, Paul says he felt compelled to make a difference in the lives of Syrian refugees.
They're trying to escape a horrible situation to make their lives better. And I thought, that's part of what the country's about. How do we reflect on that? And I couldn't really come up with a way to do it. I'm not a politician. I'm not a millionaire or anything like that. And I thought, but I make ice cream.
So Paul decided 50% of the profits from the ice cream will go to the International Rescue Committee to help refugees and the immigrant community that he has come to know well.
I met a couple who were in Brooklyn. They're Syrian refugees, and they lost their bakery. They started selling their baked products online. And so I bought all of them and tried them, and one in particular, Mamul, is date and walnut pastry, and it was like, then it clicked, like that's what I want to do.
Paul spent about a year developing that Mamul flavor and creating a package that would drive home his message of inclusion. What he came up with was a design that displays the word peace in Arabic, Hebrew, and English, because Islam, Judaism, and Christianity are some of the major religions practiced in Syria.
Food also has the real power to remind us all that there's much more that unites us than separates us.
I'd like to invite Paul Nasrani on stage.
Thank you, Daisy. It's been a privilege and an honor to be a part of this today and to work with Daisy and her team, and it's amazing work. And you know, one of the inspirations of doing this was over a year ago, traveling around the country through Pennsylvania and North Carolina, and seeing how anti-immigrant and Muslims are all terrorists came from a campaign rhetoric to actually be a fear and a belief in real everyday people who may know no better. And I searched for a long time to figure out what to do with that. As I said in the TV interview, you know, I'm an ice cream maker, and so it was privileged to come up with this flavor of ice cream. And not only is it about spreading a message, but it's also about taking time to use food to think about other people and how food is shared amongst all people, and it's something common that no matter what religion or what race or what country you come from, that's something that unites all of us. And hopefully we'll continue to deliver that message, and I've been very fortunate to be able to share it with you all today.
Muslim Jewish Advisory Council, Bob Silverman was here in the first panel. Many of you heard him talking about hate legislation. And, you know, this is a relatively new initiative, but it's a very strategic initiative in the sense that it really brings Jews and Muslims together for a specific purpose, where we, you know, focus on hate crimes. And you can see we have Farouk Katwari and Stanley Bergman leading this effort, two leading CEOs who are chairing this. I'm part of this initiative, and I'm very supportive of it because it's uniting our communities, and we're setting aside the politics of overseas, and we're doing the work that we need to do here in the United States. And so I would like to invite Richard Fulton to accept this award on behalf of the entire AMJAC team, the whole council. It's wholly voluntary. Everybody's providing their time. No one's paid, so.
Thank you, Daisy. It really is a privilege to work with you. I'm with AJC as a staff member and resource on the hate crimes issue. And it's really a privilege and a pleasure to work with Daisy and the other members of the council and with Bob Silverman on this important project. You know, in the Torah, when the Jews received the Torah at Mount Sinai, they said, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. Now that's sort of odd. You're doing before you hear, before you know what's in the Torah. But the idea is it's through action that you first understand the values that you're then going to learn about. So the same thing here. While conversation and discussion of at least the domestic issues is certainly a part of what the council does. And perhaps we'll get to other issues one of these days. What's really important is members of both of these communities, the Muslim and Jewish communities, coming to work together on issues and concerns that unite us and that bring us together as Americans to build a better country and to build a relationship, therefore, between our communities. And that's what the council is doing in the very important work that it's now doing in promoting important hate crimes legislation, which we hope will soon be enacted by Congress. So I'm very pleased to be here on behalf of the council and to have been part of this very wonderful conference. Thank you.
I think everybody has a passion. God uses us when we humble ourselves.
Muslim Lakhani says he always desired to serve humanity. As a child growing up in Karachi, Pakistan, he saw people living in poverty. He recalls how his mother always encouraged him to help feed those who are hungry.
Feeding became a passion of mine because when I was young, my mother would always tell me to, if there was somebody outside waiting to, asking for food, she would say, take half your food and go and give it to them.
Lakhani has lived all over the world as a professional polo player. Through the years, he became a successful entrepreneur and philanthropist. 6 years ago, he moved his family to Washington, D.C., where he was introduced to the Salvation Army. Lakhani, a man of Muslim faith, was moved by the Christian organization's commitment to do the most good for people in need. Through his charitable foundation, Social Vision, he donated $150,000 to fund the Salvation Army's Great Patrol, a program that feeds the homeless 365 days a year.
This is not about Christian organization, me being a Muslim, somebody being Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu. It's about fellow human beings.
We have really struck a relationship and a friendship that's very different than other sort of donor nonprofit relationships.
Major Steve Morris of the Salvation Army and Muslim Lakhani share a common hope of feeding the hungry. The Salvation Army's Great Patrol is a nightly feeding program operating in the nation's capital from a van. Morris says the program is now funded entirely by Lakhani's generous giving.
I'm sure the fact that you receive this gift from someone who is not of the Christian faith must have raised some curiosity.
It breaks through stereotypes that Christians are intolerant and not willing to work with others, and Muslims are what sometimes we think just watching the news, that Muslims are just 19 people.
Lakhani says it makes him feel good to know that his money is being used to help those in need.
It's an act of human dignity. It's an act of your belief, your faith, of doing something good for your fellow human being.
I would like to invite Muslim Lakhani to stage. Before I let Muslim speak, I do want to say a few words. I knew a Muslim when he was in Pakistan, a very successful businessman. I never imagined that a day would come when Muslim would be in the United States using the wealth that he accumulated overseas and bringing it to the United States and donating it here. So he didn't make his money here, he made his money, overseas. And more than that, he was recently recognized by the Congress, by Representative Comstock, for his philanthropic efforts here. And I think he's the first person that was recognized. Correct? You can correct me. But Muslim I consider him to be an old friend. But more than that, I'm really proud. And the idea of mentioning the heroes actually precipitated because Muslim had sent this video to me, and I said, wow, Muslims doing this. There are all these other people that I know that are doing this. Why don't we catalog this so that we can show people and inspire other people? So thank you very much, Muslim, for your inspiration and for inspiring others to take similar action.
I think Daisy Khan chose the Fox one is because my name is Muslim and I got away with it. So I think that makes sense. But Daisy, you've done a great job today, and well done. I think there's lots of people who do what I do. It's not anything that's, I'm just very grateful that God gave me the opportunity to be able to do it, and I'll keep doing it till I can. But just to tell you that I just want you to take one thought away with you, which has been with me since I was a little boy, that all of us are born, we don't question where we are born. We're born into a family, into a home, and we don't know what religion they are, what religion your parents are going to be, what religion they're going to teach you, who your Parents are going to be your siblings, everybody else. So that is an act of God, and I think it should be respected by all of us as Muslims, Christians, Jews, Buddhists, everybody. So if you have that in your mind, you become blind of faith. And to me, I have no problem, with a name like Muslim. I don't think I can go very far. So, and I'm very proud to be a Muslim, but I'm also very proud that I have very good Christian friends, Buddhist friends, Jewish friends, Hindu friends, all types. Some of them don't even believe. That's fine. I don't have to answer for that. They have to. So I think if we keep that in mind, immediately humanity becomes our race. Race, humanity is our race. And love becomes our religion. So with that, I'd like to thank all of you. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Shoulder to Shoulder. Is anybody representing Shoulder to Shoulder here? Is Nina here? Nina, come on up. So Shoulder to Shoulder is also an effort of interfaith communities coming together to defend one another, to stand next to each other against bigotry, against Islamophobia. It was started here in Washington, D.C., and Nina is here to represent Shoulder to Shoulder. Catherine Osborne has had a baby, so she's not able to be with us. But Nina, please come up and give a few words, because I know a lot about Shoulder to Shoulder, but I'd like you to just explain. Oh, wait. First, let's just keep that.
Hello, everyone. So I just want to share a few words on behalf of Dr. Catherine Osborne. She is the director of the Shoulder to Shoulder campaign. We were founded in 2010 by faith leaders, many of whom have been here throughout the day, who knew that we needed to come together to address this problem of anti-Muslim bigotry in this country. And so we are very pleased to be working with so many amazing denominations and organizations throughout the country, doing the hard work of building bridges of compassion and peace. So thank you.
I would like to bring to stage Kathy Grams and John Kaiser for the Abdul Qadir Project. You all heard about Amir Abdul Qadir and John Kaiser, who has written the book in the biography of Amir Abdul Qadir. And this is a project that is very close to my heart, because I've known John for many years. And the inspiration behind this project was to take the teachings of Amir Abdul Qadir and bring them to the schools and create curriculum so that people could actually use it in a classroom. So I will let Kathy speak about this and John speak about this, but I can't tell you how much potential this project has, and it is entirely funded by a small group of people. Kathy lives in Iowa, John lives in Virginia, and it's a self-love project. And imagine John Kaiser doesn't need this headache. He's got a pig farm and he's busy, and but yet he's very committed to telling the story of Amir Abdul Qadir. I don't know if he got to say this, but when he was talking about the prisoners, how the treatment of prisoners of Amir Abdul Qadir, that was so compelling to the founder of Red Cross that he wanted to know a little bit more about that. And that became the basis of the Geneva Convention. So I know John loves to tell people that story. Hey, you Muslims, you keep saying Geneva Convention is not ours. It actually happens to be grounded in your own theology. So this is the kind of stuff that's coming out of the curriculum, and we need to know more about it. So I want to invite you both to say.
Thank you very much, Daisy. It's an honor to be here. Well, John and I got together because I happened to be born in Elkader, Iowa, which may not mean anything to you, except in 1846, there was a remarkable fellow in Algeria who was a humanitarian, ethical leader, and so many other things that one of the founders of my town decided, we're not going to name it Guttenberg, we're not going to name it Lansing, we're going to name it after Imre Abdülkadir. So that's how we got together, not that many years ago, but it was 2008 when John had done years of research on Abdülkadir, and he just happened to call me and say, can you organize a book launch? And I said yes. Since I retired, I decided I will just always say yes and then figure out how to do things. So after his book launch, there were so many people that wanted to know more about Abdülkadir, and we decided we are bringing him back because there's so much that people can learn today about his legacy. So we decided to start with youth because they are our future. They're going to be our decision makers, and they are so important. What we decided to do was to start an essay contest for the high schoolers. A couple years later, we decided, well, let's have one for the college students too. So please, all of you, if you can look at our website, abdulkadirproject.org, we offer essay contests across the United States. We have other countries that want to be a part of what we do, but currently we are in the United States. And we're always happy to tell our story. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. In fact, this has been going on for 9 years, and next year is the 10th year, at which we want to have our awards ceremonies and annual forum, which has been traditionally held in Iowa and Washington, D.C. We're already seeing signs of interest not only in the military, but in Homeland Security, DOD, schools in the area, interfaith groups, and we'd like to get connected to any organizations that are in the audience today, either now or we can track down later, who would like to integrate the Abdülkadir story and what he represents into their programs. And so thank you for making this possible, and I have incredible admiration for Daisy's quiet, patient persistence with a project that required a tremendous amount of all of those three qualities, I think. And thank you for coming today.
Sojourners is another organization that I am very proud to be affiliated with. Jim Wallace, many of you know, he's an evangelical leader, a very progressive evangelical leader, and highly respected, commentator and everything else. And really, this just came to my attention, and this is what happens. I didn't know they had done something called Matthew 25 Pledge. If you go into this toolkit, it's designed for Christians, and I'll let Rob speak to it himself, but I just can't believe how detailed it is. It is a beautiful toolkit. So any of you who want to do dialogue, it's all there. So I'm so proud to say that Rob is here accepting this award on behalf of Jim Wallace and Sojourners, the organization that actually did this Matthew 25 Pledge.
Daisy and Wise, we're very honored to receive this. Imagine a world in which every Christian, a follower of Jesus Christ, decided to make sure that every Muslim that was anywhere near them was treated like their cousin, which you are. My neighbor and friend, Imam Muhammad Majid, invites me over to have dinner there. Every time I walk by the Adams Center, I say a brief prayer. How can I help? My daughter Hannah used to ride the bus with Nabra, a young woman who we just lost this year. How can you treat each other like neighbors? So that is our dream, Matthew25pledge.com. It's a very detailed, as Daisy mentioned, way to live into that promise that Jesus told us to follow as Christians. So there are 20,000 plus people trying to do this, and it's just been great to be a part of Daisy's life. We've been together at Irish pubs when Imam Faisal was at an undisclosed location. And she's helped me work on my call to prayer at Chautauqua Institution. So thank you so much for all you've meant to this movement.
Don't forget that we are a family, okay? And in real families, there's always people that make mistakes within those families. Now, we've made those mistakes, but as a family, you pick each other up. And it's time for the rest of us, family, pick this damn thing up and take it home the way it needs to be taken. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three, four. Set. Red 42. Red 42, go. Red 52, go. Go, 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 go. Got him. Listen. Go. Go, Billy, go. Go, Billy.
We are very proud to be Arab, proud to be Muslim. We are very proud to be American too. Red 44! Red 44, go! We are the luckiest people in the world to be born and live in America.
On his way here from Chicago, and then his wife got ill. So he contacted us this morning saying that he could not be here. But I know he's watching it live stream. So I'm accepting this award. It is a beautiful film called Fordson. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. And you will be so inspired by this film, and it will leave you in tears. So I want to thank everybody. I would like to thank everybody who came here today. There are many people who have made this event possible, and I would like to invite all the interns that have been part of this and all the volunteers. Please come up. The steering committee, please come up. Come up, come up. Many people have left already, but those of you who are still here, please come up on stage. Gail? So we've had volunteers, we've had contributors, we've had any contributors left, please come up on stage. Speakers, everybody? Where are the interns, please? We need all our interns in the room. Hello, you're an intern? You have a job now. You're still an intern. Yes. We have an intern that worked in our office 3 years ago, and now he's got a big shot job. So come on out. And he's wearing a suit. I don't even recognize you. I just want you to know this is just a sampling of people that are physically present here. Minu, come up. But this is a labor of love. This is how this project became possible. And there are donors in the room, those who have supported this project. So this project actually came to fruition with 3 family foundations and about 20 individuals. And if anybody wants to be recognized on stage, please come up. I won't mention you by name because most of our donors are very shy. They want to be behind the scenes. They are just happy to support. But you know who you are, and I want to thank you for making this possible, because without your resources, this event would not have been possible, and this book would not have been possible. So thank you, all of you, for supporting this. And I'd like to now invite everybody who wants to be in this group photo from the audience, because you're part of our team now. So please come up.